June marks National Mental Health Men's Month, and everybody, it's your turn to act like you care, but probably you really don't. Let's go. The irony is that for anybody who might actually care about men's mental health, the solutions that they might offer and the ways that they think men are going to get better is in fact possibly hurting them, but at least it's not as effective as you think. The good news for us is there are ways that men recover from mental health problems, and it might actually be easier, simpler, cheaper, and more effective than advertised. I heard someone smarter than me say that men recover shoulder to shoulder while women recover foot to foot, which means that having a little seance and holding hands and talking about our feelings is not generally more healthy for men, but it is for the fairer sex. And so when women, who are the majority of therapists, believe that men need mental health, wellness, management, whatever, they think, well, what would I do? What would they do that would be effective? And they think, well, I sit in a circle, talk, get social support, ruminate on my feelings in a collection. That might actually be helpful for ladies, but not necessarily for men.
You are on the floor having shoved a towel in your mouth to try and cover the sound of you screaming so your baby daughter doesn't hear, because you don't want her to be afraid in sort of 2 rooms away while your wife looks after her. I think it's impossible for anyone, no matter what their relationship to masculinity, to feel diminished.
And second of all, if society wasn't set up so antithetical to men and telling men that they're toxic and putting them on the outs, putting them in the margins, not allowing them healthy relationships, not putting them in a position to succeed, it might be easier to believe that people actually cared if all those things weren't true. But I'm here to tell you that when a man shares an opinion about their own mental health, they get put directly on blast or told that they're weak. And so quit pretending to act like you care. But I do have some solutions.
You want to be liked, but you want to do something selfish, and you can't reconcile the two, and so you're under stress. You want to do something for somebody else. You want to do something for yourself, right? These are you don't want to go to work, but you want to make money, so you're under stress, right? So you have 2 conflicting desires, and I think one of the ways to get through stress is to acknowledge that, oh, I actually have 2 conflicting desires, and either I need to resolve it, I need to pick one, and then be okay.
Recent research in the British Journal of Sports Medicine shows that, in fact, using physical activity instead of trying to sit in a therapy room and hold hands with somebody who gets paid to be your friend, instead of doing that, physical activity has actually had better, if not comparable, results in dealing with mental health symptoms like depression and anxiety. So the results are physical activity for men actually probably improves their symptoms more than therapy, according to this research.
Got a sense of satisfaction because presumably you get the dopamine, I've completed the task, fuck yeah. And then it's like, and then I do just that tiny little bit more to...
Listen to this study. This is crazy. A large-scale study of 1.2 million individuals in the U.S. found that those who exercise experience 43.2% fewer days of poor mental health than the cohort who did not exercise. And those, of course, can include lots of different activities. But if you lift, bro, you might actually have better mental health, or at least 43% less negative mental health days than your peers. And that, to me, especially for a man, is a very, very practical way to use your strength, use your ambition, use your scaling, desire to accomplish goals, all of those things, besides teaching you that when you have heavy things that you need to lift in life, that you can do that if you practice, if you exercise those muscles. All of those things, alternatively, are so much better than paying the price to come talk to a doofus like me in an office for an hour a week and spend exorbitant amounts of money, and then possibly even go get medications from a doctor that have drastic side effects even on your libido. Shouldn't we just go lift some weights and see if that might help first?
But you reflect on the problems to observe them and solve them. You don't reflect on them to feel better about yourself.
To indulge them.
Well, if you're doing it to just feel better about yourself, that could be strengthening your personality and your ego, and could be creating a more fragile personality.
even among older adults. So does your mom have anxiety? Does your dad show symptoms of anxiety as his testosterone goes down? As little as 10 minutes a day of physical activity reduced the amount of generalized anxiety disorder found in those, especially in older adults. So it doesn't require you being like a power lifter. And I only weigh $150 on a good day, so I'm not doing like heavy lifting, but I do exercise 5 to 6, 7 times a week because I used to freak out a lot, especially during the virus and other times that were high stress in society. Exercise got me through. And when I had a total status loss in 2020, 2021, exercise got me through. The only things I knew to do were to go to the gym and read the Bible. And those two things changed not just my mental health, but my worldview in so many ways, knowing that all else being equal, I got to go home to a beautiful wife, I got to exercise, and I got to read the Bible. What else might a man need? Another comprehensive way that exercise will help is if you go to a gym every day, you have camaraderie and a mutual goal that everyone is trying to reach, and people from all different stripes, all different walks of life. The gym culture as it stands, or if you join some other type of exercise cohort, that culture is moving towards the same goal at the same time. And it's amazing what a group of people can do when they are all working towards the same thing. The best kind of therapy you're going to get is the one that doesn't have you coming into an office, young man. Now, there is a time and place for therapy, and sometimes all you need is a little encouragement, which is falling way short among people who are trying to speak to men. And the only one who created this month, probably Men's Mental Health Month, is probably somebody that you wouldn't want to take advice from about your mental health, man. No kidding. Most therapists have no idea how to speak to you. And part of it is that society has put you on the margins. Well, now it's time to recenter your power, learn how to lift something heavy, and you probably won't need to come into an office and talk about it for 52 hours in the next year and pay for somebody to talk to you, because you might be able to accomplish that, or at least know the discipline and consistency that it might take to be able to lift heavy things will give you exactly what you need to be able to overcome that challenge. And whether you get the girl or you get the job or not, you will be able to have the stress relief that comes along with exercise, and you might dodge a therapist. So if you're watching this and you're not a man and you don't feel like you need therapy, well, stop pretending like you care enough to make Men's Mental Health Month and then turn around and be like, oh, you're so weak, or go blast a man out for wanting a family, or for wanting a traditional life, or for wanting a job, or for wanting to be able to afford a house. Stop blasting men out, and maybe their mental health wouldn't be so bad in the first place. I'm out.